The first crack didn't come from a scream, it came from a laugh. A soft, careless one, floating through the corridor at a moment when no one was supposed to be laughing. I was drying my hands in the guest bathroom at our wedding reception when I heard it. My wife's voice, low, intimate, too intimate. Then my brother's, a whisper, a breath. A sound I'd heard only once before, when he'd admitted, years ago, that loving someone you can't have is a slow kind of death. I froze. The mirror in front of me showed a groom with perfect posture, perfect composure, perfect delusion. But the air behind the door pulsed with something raw, something that didn't belong at a wedding, something that felt owned. A clink of glasses, a hushed, 10 years, finally. Then footsteps walking away as if nothing had shifted, as if the earth hadn't tilted beneath my shoes. When I stepped out into the hall, she brushed past me, my bride, smiling the smile she once reserved only for me. I didn't follow, didn't question, didn't breathe. Something in her eyes said I shouldn't. Later, when the spotlight hit the dance floor and she raised her glass, her voice sliced through the chatter like a razor dipped in champagne. "This dance," she announced, "is for the man I have secretly loved for 10 years." Applause exploded. My spine locked. My pulse didn't. I stood up, because who else would it be? But she didn't look at me. "Not you," she said quietly, almost kindly. "You can dance with the guests." Then she walked past me, and stopped in front of my brother. The applause died one breath at a time, and something inside me started counting. 1, 2, 3. Truth has a sound when it breaks. I just hadn't heard it fully, yet. Shock has a strange texture. It isn't sharp. It's muffled, like cotton stuffed into the chest, absorbing the ability to react. I didn't storm out, didn't shout, didn't make a scene. I watched them instead, my wife resting her hand on my brother's arm, guiding him into the center of the room. The guests adjusted awkwardly, trying to force celebration over unease. Even the band hesitated before playing the first note. My brother couldn't meet my eyes. His throat tensed every time he lifted his gaze my direction. Guilt is easy to spot when you've spent your entire life sharing the same last name. My wife didn't look guilty. She looked relieved. As they danced, the puzzle pieces rearranged themselves inside me. Small memories I had ignored. Sudden silences in conversations. The way she tried too hard to show enthusiasm when I mentioned him. The way he left family dinners early whenever she attended. The way my mother used to look at them and then quickly away. A decade of something I'd been too blind to see. I felt the room watching me, waiting for a reaction. But I simply sat down, folded my hands, and let the new truth settle inside my chest. Sometimes the deepest wounds don't bleed. They just expand. I didn't confront them. Confrontation gives the guilty a chance to prepare their lies. I preferred silence. It makes people reveal more than questions ever could. While the honeymoon plans fell through, I began collecting details with the quiet precision of someone sharpening a blade they don't intend to use, only display. Phone logs, bank statements, dates, cross-referencing timelines with hospital visits my brother insisted were routine. A message in her old email folder, deleted but not wiped, about a decision they regretted making years ago. Then a date circled in red. 10 years ago. Long before she met me. Long before I thought they'd crossed paths. I ordered a DNA test for a purpose I didn't name. People assume DNA tests are about children. They forget they can also be about siblings. As days passed, I watched her. She grew softer, kinder, overly attentive, guilt stretching itself into hospitality. My brother, meanwhile, avoided me entirely. I said nothing, did nothing. I simply let the silence thicken until both of them started drowning in it. Sometimes the deepest wounds don't bleed. They just expand. I didn't confront them. Confrontation gives the guilty a chance to prepare their lies. I preferred silence. It makes people reveal more than questions ever could. While the honeymoon plans fell through, I began collecting details with the quiet precision of someone sharpening a blade they don't intend to use, only display. Phone logs, bank statements, dates, cross-referencing timelines with hospital visits my brother insisted were routine. A message in her old email folder, deleted but not wiped, about a decision they regretted making years ago. Then a date circled in red. 10 years ago, long before she met me, long before I thought they'd crossed paths. I ordered a DNA test for a purpose I didn't name. People assume DNA tests are about children. They forget they can also be about siblings. As days passed, I watched her. She grew softer, kinder, overly attentive, guilt stretching itself into hospitality. My brother, meanwhile, avoided me entirely. I said nothing, did nothing. I simply let the silence thicken until both of them started drowning in it. Every step I took toward the truth felt like walking down a stairwell with no railings. Cold, narrow, brutal. But I kept descending, because once you sense a lie that long, you don't stop until you reach the floor it's been hiding on. The results arrived on a cold Thursday morning, a thin envelope, a decisive weight. I opened it without ceremony. The numbers didn't lie. They whispered. My brother and I did not share the same father. A 10-year secret suddenly cracked open. She and my brother hadn't just been lovers. They were the only two people who knew the truth before I did. I didn't rage, didn't break, didn't even blink. I simply folded the paper, placed it in my jacket pocket, and waited for the next family gathering. Thanksgiving, the perfect stage. When the room was full, my father, my mother, my brother trying to hold himself together, and my wife pretending nothing was wrong, I handed my father the envelope. "I have a question," I said. The room stilled. He opened it, read, and every lie he'd ever tucked under his tongue evaporated. My wife went pale. My brother collapsed into a chair as if someone had cut the strings holding him upright. Silence fell so sharp it could have been used to carve bone. My wife whispered, You knew?" I didn't answer her. I spoke to my father instead. Calm, measured. "Whose son am I?" His lips trembled, but the truth had already been written. He didn't need to speak. My wife tried to touch my arm. I stepped back. She reached again, desperate now, unraveling. "Please." I didn't mean—" "For what?" I finally asked. "For me to discover that my brother loved you first? Or that you loved him back? Or that everyone here knew something except me?" She broke then, right in front of everyone. My brother stared at the table, unable to lift his head. Cowardice has a posture. He wore it perfectly. I looked at them, two people who had built a decade of secrets on the assumption that I'd never question anything. They were right, until they weren't. "You both wanted a dance," I said quietly. "Now you can finish it alone." And I walked out. Leaving wasn't hard. Leaving was oxygen. The cold air outside felt cleaner than any room I'd stood in my entire life. For the first time, the world wasn't spinning around their lies. It was still, sharp, honest. They called, texted, begged. I didn't block them. I didn't need to. Silence answers more thoroughly than rage. People think betrayal destroys you. It doesn't. It frees you. I learned something that night I will never forget. When the truth finally arrives, it doesn't scream. It whispers. And the whisper is enough to burn everything down. And I let it burn.